yin and yang are not male and female, and they are not feminine and masculine. They are not only one dichotomy that refers to gender. Hey my souls, I'm Anya Esma, and welcome to this video about feminine and masculine aspects and how we can approach them in a different way. This video is going to apply to tarot, but you can also apply it to any universal knowledge system that uses feminine and masculine aspects in its logic. I feel like I can offer a perspective because I have developed kind of my own way of approaching gender in tarot, because I'm not entirely comfortable with the dichotomy of man and woman and how it is reflected in tarot. And I want to talk about that. It's going to be my perspective. Keep that in mind. If you have a different perspective, feel free to talk about it in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions about this subject because I know it's very complicated and very broad. So definitely share with me what you think about this. So for beginners who are learning tarot or any other system of knowledge or occultism, there are going to be a lot of situations in which there is talk of feminine and masculine energy, in which usually masculine energy is fiery and active and aggressive and getting things done, and feminine energy is receptive and caring and not provocative but nurturing. And this dichotomy, it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. Including me, because I identify as a woman very strongly, I must say. But at the same time, I do have a lot of these masculine aspects, and calling them masculine aspects always feels a little bit weird. But at the same time, I know a lot of people say, hey, it's just called that. It's not male and female, it's masculine and feminine, and we all have masculine and feminine aspects. And while this is true, I still feel like we can go deeper than that and kind of understand the philosophy behind it better if we go broader than by referring to them as male and female or even feminine and masculine. Every card in tarot, even, the Emperor and the Empress, they all have these feminine and masculine aspects that everybody always talks about. And yes, I want to kind of offer a broader perspective than that in this video. For beginners, I think it is an important crutch to learning the tarot. If you are comfortable with using the words feminine and masculine, or kind of, accepting the words and not seeing it as a personal attack on your idea of gender, but rather as kind of a concept, then it's good for the beginning. But I think the further you get into learning tarot, the more it is worth it to let go of the words feminine and masculine and try to think of it in a more universal manner. And I personally like to think of them as yin and yang energies. And I know yin and yang, it seems like a very basic concept, but I feel like it is still a concept that a lot of people misunderstand, because yin and yang are still less hurtful to those who do not identify as one specific gender. And even using the word masculine and feminine can be problematic in that sense. And that even for me, it is problematic to talk about my masculine aspects. I don't think that's how the world works. I don't think that masculine and feminine is the only dichotomy that we can use in order to understand these concepts. And that is where yin and yang come in. And I know there are some people who say, it's just a matter of words, yin and yang, feminine and masculine, that's the same. No. And I want to talk about why. Because yin and yang are not male and female, and they are not feminine and masculine. They are not only one dichotomy that refers to gender. And it still shapes our imagination and how we think we can embody these aspects in tarot if we think of them as masculine and feminine. Because suddenly when you want to be assertive and powerful, you have to think of the emperor and you have to think of a male figure to represent that powerfulness. And if we go into a more universal concept, like the concept of qi, then we can imagine more. You know what I mean? The borders aren't as clear, and yin and yang are basically the two sides of qi. Everything is qi, and yin and yang are sort of the different embodiments of the qi energy in this world. I think the best way to explain it is to look at the Chinese characters. I studied Chinese for 5 years. I'm still not good at it. I still have enough knowledge, I guess, to at least break down what these characters mean to you. If I make any mistake in this, if there is anything you want to correct me on, feel free to do that in the comments. I'm not claiming that I am the expert on all of this. I'm not an expert on Buddhism or on qi or the concept of yin and yang, but I am still going to portray it here because it is so intrinsic to tarot, and I just want to link the two together. So yin and yang, if you look at the symbols, they both contain the one symbol that looks like this. It kind of looks like a bee a little bit. This is called a radical in Chinese. One part of the symbol is that symbol, and the other character is the symbol for moon, yue, and re, which means sun, respectively. So you kind of have the sun and moon and light and darkness aspect here. But the interesting thing is the other character, because the other character can mean hill. There are a lot of different theories on why that is, or if it's supposed to mean hill in this context. But I feel that it very well shows that there isn't a light and a dark. There isn't just the sun and the moon. There is the thing that they relate to, and that is the hill. And depending on where the sun and the moon are and whether it's day or night, either the one side of the hill, if you want to think of it as the world, is going to be bathed in light, or it will be bathed in darkness or moonlight. It's not like there are just two sides. One is always dark and one is always light. It is a flowing concept, and that sort of explains the different embodiments that qi can take in this world. So you have this simultaneous unity and duality, and that is one of the important aspects of Taoism, because there is no clear dichotomy. There is, but then there isn't, because it's all connected, and everything can be everything, if that makes sense. The sum is basically bigger than its parts, and that always reminds me of the Temperance card, which of course also has a big relation to alchemy. So I hope that you see that the dichotomy of male and female, or feminine and masculine, is in no way defining yin and yang. Rather, it is a universal concept that could represent summer and winter, sun and moon, growth and decay, emergence and retreat, nature burgeoning forth in spring versus withering away in winter or retreating in winter. So all of these concepts are contained in the yin and yang dichotomy, which isn't really a dichotomy, but rather a flowing state of unity and duality at the same time. Now, applying this to tarot can be hard because obviously so many cards are gendered. Depending on which deck you have, the Emperor is probably going to be a man and the Empress is going to be a woman. So applying this isn't entirely easy. If you have issues with it, maybe just draw a card, look at its energy, but then try to kind of take it back to you and your concepts of gender and your idea of how the universe works. And in that way, you can reformulate what the card means. For example, receptivity isn't a feminine, exclusively feminine trait. And you know, so many of the tarot cards speak about this as well, because the wands are about creation and destruction, about the fire of destroying things and the fire of cleansing things and the fire that you need to create new things. As you can see there, it's very interlinked. It's not like you only have destruction and you only have creation. They aren't two sides of the same coin, they are one. And this idea of unity applies in tarot everywhere, I feel. This rising and falling, that is also a very important concept in Taoism. Understanding this kind of gives you a better perspective on those male and female cards. And I understand, as I said, for beginners, it's great if you kind of start to understand the tarot through the lens of gender, because it makes it easier, honestly. Because in society, we associate these things with genders. That is not a good thing, but it makes the system as such understandable. But then you can move away from that. Once you have understood the concept, it's time to take a step further. And using this kind of outdated concept of femininity and masculinity as a jumping board to go on a new level with tarot is what I want to support with this video. So I hope that all of this made sense and that you can find some examples in the tarot where this idea of duality and unity is reflected. Personally, I find the concept of yin and yang incredibly interesting because it's so all-encompassing. And once again, the people who say that it's just another word for feminine or masculine, it's really not. It's so much more. And I hope that I could show that the words yin and yang mean so much more than just male and female or feminine and masculine. So yes, tell me your thoughts below. I really enjoyed making this video, not so much because I want to focus on gender, but because I want to focus on Taoism and yin and yang, and I'm very passionate about that and about that concept. And yeah, I hope that it brought you some knowledge, some insight, and will boost your tarot practice onto a new level. If you want to stay with me a little longer and dwell in my domain, feel free to subscribe. I would love it if you join me. So have a great day. I love you all, and I will see you soon.